Let us discuss about the spread syntax for arrays and objects. Here I have an example ARR, and the spread syntax, it applies to arrays and objects just like the REST syntax. As you can see from the example, the spread syntax looks exactly like the REST syntax, but it works in exactly the opposite way. The REST syntax, it collects multiple elements and condenses them into one element, while the spread syntax expands an array or object into its elements. Let us discuss the spread syntax using some examples. First, let us discuss the spread syntax for arrays. In this example, we have a function called sum3 which takes in three parameters x, y, and z, and it returns x plus y plus z. In this example, we are passing in all of the elements of this array over here by listing them individually. We can do the same thing using the spread syntax more succinctly. If we use the spread syntax, the code would look like this: const total equals sum3 ARR, and this would do the same thing as this. If you notice, the operator was used previously in the REST syntax, but here we are using it for the spread syntax. What we are saying effectively here is we want to expand the array ARR into its individual elements. You can think of this expression over here getting replaced with the elements of the array 1, 2, 3 without the square brackets. Let us run this example to see if the value of whole total and total is the same. I'm clicking on run. As you can see, the values for whole total and total are the same. Let us next discuss about how to clone or copy an array. Here we have an array called ARR and its values are 1, 2, and 3. Suppose we want to make a copy or clone of this array ARR. If we write this line of code, ARR2 equals ARR, this will not really create a copy of the array. What will happen is ARR2 will point to the same existing array. Hence, this is the wrong way of creating a clone of an array. The correct way would be to use a spread syntax. If we write ARR3 equals, and then within square brackets, if we say ARR, then what will happen is this expression right here will be replaced by the elements of the array ARR, as if we have listed them individually over here, excluding the square brackets. Let us verify if ARR and ARR3 are really different arrays. So let me run this example. I'm clicking on run, and as you can see, the result is false. That means ARR and ARR3 are really different arrays. If we compare ARR and ARR2, let's see what the output is. I have clicked on run, and as you can see, the output is true, which means ARR and ARR2 actually refer to the same array. So if you change either ARR or ARR2, actually you're changing the same array that both of these variables are pointing to, and hence they both will seem to have changed. Since ARR and ARR3 are actually different arrays, you can modify them independently. Hence, using the spread syntax would be the correct way to clone an array. Next, let us discuss about how to create a new array from elements of an existing array. Here we have an array called ARR, and it has 4 elements: 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say we want to append an element 5 to this ARR, and we want to create a new array. We really do not want to modify the existing array ARR, but we want to create a new array by appending the element 5 to the contents of ARR. Then we can just say ARR, 5 within square brackets. This simple expression will bring in the elements of ARR over here and also append the value 5 and create a new array which will be referenced by ARR2. Let's run this example. We should get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've clicked on run, and as you can see, the output is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let us log ARR as well and see if it is different. Let me clear the output and run it once again. As you can see, ARR2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, while ARR is still 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say we want to prepend an element. How do we do that? We simply have to specify the element we want to prepend at the beginning, like this. So here we are prepending 0, and then we are expanding ARR using the spread syntax. So the expected output is 0 followed by the contents of ARR, which are 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the expected output. Let me clear this output and run the example. As you can see, ARR2 is now 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. ARR is unchanged. Let's say we want to prepend an element as well as append an element. So let's say we want to prepend 0 and append 5. So all we have to do is specify 5 at the end, and the output would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's run this example and see what the output is. Let me clear the previous example's output. I'm clicking run, and as you can see, the array ARR2 is now 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, while the array ARR still is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us look at one more example and see how to concatenate arrays. Here we have an array ARR1 which has the elements 0, 1, 2, and we have ARR2 which has the elements 3, 4, 5. We want to create a new array called ARR3 by concatenating ARR1 and ARR2. Without the spread syntax, we would have to use the concat function. So we would have to write ARR1.concat of ARR2. And with the spread syntax, we would just have to write this. We would just have to spread ARR1 and then spread ARR2. As you can notice, this is a far more easier syntax to remember and write. Let me mention this point again about the spread syntax. When you see the spread operator being used, for example, with this array called ARR1, it means that this expression right here will be replaced with the contents of ARR1. Let us look at some examples of using spread syntax with objects. This is an example of using the spread operator for an object. Here we are cloning an object. So we have obj1, which has two properties, foo and x, and we want to clone this object. So let us run this example and see the output. As you can see from the output, the cloned object also has foo and x. And the spread operator, just like it did for arrays, it expanded the contents of obj1 and put them here. So this expression right here gets replaced by the contents of obj1. Let us look at one more example. Here we are merging two objects. We have obj1, which is an object that contains two properties, foo and x, and obj2 also has foo as a property and it has y as the second property. And to merge obj1 and obj2 and get a new object merged obj, we have to just specify this line of code over here. We are spreading obj1 using the spread operator, and we are spreading obj2 using the spread operator. What this does is it replaces this expression with the contents of obj1, and this expression is replaced by the contents of obj2, which is this. And since obj1 and obj2, both of them have foo as a property, whichever is specified last will keep its value. Let us write down what this code translates to. Let me use a new variable, merged obj2, and let us spread the contents of obj1. So let's take the contents of obj1 and put them here, and then let us spread the contents of obj2. So let us take the contents of obj2 and put them here. As you can see, this is an object, but we have specified the property foo a couple of times over here as well as here. Let us log merged obj2 now. Let us clear the previous output and run this example. I'm clicking on run, and as you can see, the resulting object has only one foo property and its value is baz. This is because this key value pair over here will overwrite this key value pair over here. So whatever is specified last will override the previously specified key value pair. Hence, foo keeps the value of baz, as we can see over here. The rest syntax and the spread syntax are used heavily in React applications, and they especially become important when we use Redux. Let us quickly compare the rest syntax and spread syntax with the help of an example. So here on the left we have the rest syntax example. So we have const, and within square brackets we have a comma and then the dot 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 operator followed by b, and we have assigned that to 1 2 3 4. So what this will do is pattern matching will happen, and a will be assigned the value of 1 and the rest of the elements 2, 3, 4 will be gathered into an array and B will be assigned that array. Let's look at the spread syntax example over here. Here we have an array ARR equals 1, 2, 3, 4 and we are making a copy of the array by using the ... operator over here. Notice that in the rest example, what happens is we are gathering 2, 3, 4 and condensing them into an array and assigning that array to B. So multiple elements 2, 3, 4 are being condensed into one element, an array, and then assigned to B. And with spread syntax, it is the opposite. So ARR refers to one element, which is an array, and the spread syntax expands the single array into its constituent elements. Another important way in which we can identify when this ... operator is actually a REST operator and when this ... operator is a spread operator is by looking at its position with respect to the equals operator. If it occurs on the left hand side, it is probably the REST operator, and if it occurs on the right hand side of the equals operator, it is probably the spread operator.